بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Alhamdulillah, welcome to the Al-I'rab course, declension, and hope inshallah this course will be of benefit for yourself, and inshallah you can benefit others as well, inshallah once you complete this course, inshallah. So just a bit of guidelines, inshallah, before we actually get into the course, inshallah, and then you'll know what kind of things to expect, inshallah, during the course and how the setup is going to be. Okay. So, Bismillah. Lessons will be delivered by the teacher, obviously that's myself, for the first part without interaction. So if somebody had any questions, etc., okay, at the first part of the lesson, just let the lesson flow and I will be delivering it. Why is this important? So students revisiting the lesson can easily understand the lesson without interruption. Okay. So on your dashboard, if you want to view the lesson again, students who visit the lesson again, they can revisit the lesson and there's a flow in their learning, inshallah. Students can ask questions through Zoom chat. Okay, so inside the chat, you can put your questions in, and inshallah, whilst I'm delivering the lesson, I'll keep an eye on the chat and I will answer your questions through the chat as well. And obviously, I did say just at the first part without interaction for the first part, but if you do have any questions, just put them in the chat during the lesson whilst the lesson is being delivered. I'll have a look at it, and then in the meantime, obviously, when the time is right, I will answer those questions, inshallah. Okay. Your audio, sound, and video camera will be turned off to respect the privacy of students and participants. So we don't want everyone showing their, video face or background, etc. Because some people might not want to. That's fine. Okay, so that's how we're going to keep the lessons, inshallah. Don't hesitate in asking questions during and outside of the lessons. During the lesson, obviously, we've mentioned through the Zoom chat, inshallah. And outside of the lesson, use the Telegram support group. So if you haven't joined the Telegram support group on your dashboard, you will have um, an option where it will say join Telegram support group. If you click that, it'll take you straight, inshallah, into the Telegram support group. And that's where you can ask questions outside of the lesson as well. So it's 24/7 around the clock. If there's anything you didn't understand of the lesson, you can ask me, inshallah. And if it's related to I'rab, nah, etc., I'll try my best to, inshallah, answer those questions. And if I don't know, I will ask someone who knows, inshallah. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. And lessons will be PowerPointed, inshallah, and no book is required to purchase to follow the lessons. Okay, so this course is all PowerPointed, and just take notes during the lessons, inshallah. Okay, inshallah, during the lessons, you feel free to take notes during the lessons. After each aspect of your learning, inshallah, there'll be a summary that will be provided just to kind of consolidate what you have learned, okay, as an overview. And you will see that during the course of, inshallah, the I'rab course. And finally, enjoy your journey of learning the I'rab course, inshallah. And inshallah, we will now commence with the I'rab course, inshallah. These are just basic guidelines, so Bismillah. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قصة زيد التي لم تسمعها من قبل. Story of Zayd which you have not heard or listened to before. So this is not your typical story of what we learnt in grammar. ضرب زيد, Zayd hit, and then we see that afterwards it's ضرب زيد, Zayd was hit, and then we have ضربت زيدا مشدودا, I hit Zayd whilst he was tied up. It's none of those stories that you have done before like that. This is a new story about Zayd, and please don't ask me for the reference because there's no reference to this story. Okay, so it's not a hadith, etc. So please don't ask me if it's sahih, da'if, etc. It's totally made up, but it's just to support your understanding of إعراب, inshallah. So let's get going, inshallah, with the story. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ذات يوم. One day. استيقظ زيد مبكرا. Zayd woke up early. وأهله نائمون. Whilst his family were sleeping. ونزل من الدرج سريعا. And Zayd came down the stairs quickly. لأنه كان يتوقع طلبا من تيمو. Why did Zayd come down the stairs quickly? Because he was waiting for an order from Timu or Temu. طلبا means order. What was this order? حذاء جديدا. New pair of shoes. طلبه الأسبوع الماضي. Which he ordered the previous week. So we have Zayd here waking up early in the morning whilst his parents are asleep, his family sleeping. He's come down the stairs, rushing down because he was waiting for an order from Timu. And that was a pair of shoes. لكن من المستغرب أن الذي وصله لم يكن طلب تيمو. However, surprisingly, from the astonishing and amazing thing was that الذي وصله, that which he received, meaning through the letterbox, لم يكن طلب تيمو. It was not the order of Timu. So keep a focus on the moods we see at the top. So at the moment, okay, he is quite sad because he did not expect, okay, he was expecting something, but he found the unexpected. So everything in red, just keep that in your mind. So at the moment, we have the feeling of sadness. بل كان مظروفا. Instead, it was an envelope. So he did not receive his team order, which was a pair of shoes. Rather, it was an envelope. مظروف, envelope. فتحه زيد. Zayd opened the envelope. فإذا فيه تذاكر مجانية لزيارة قصر بوكنغهام. All of a sudden, the envelope contained free tickets to visit Buckingham Palace. Wow. وقفز من الفرح. Zayd jumped up into the air out of happiness. So we can see now he is extremely happy. وأخبر عائلته, and he informed his family. Like every other child, in the moment of happiness, you want to share that news with your family. So Zayd was no one different. وأخبر عائلته, he informed his family. وعلى الفور استعدوا للذهاب إلى قصر بوكنغهام. Immediately, they started to make preparations for going to Buckingham Palace. Wow. Free tickets to visit Buckingham palace. ثم نهض زيد في صباح اليوم التالي مبكرا. Then Zayd woke up the following morning early, excited, looking forward to traveling to Buckingham Palace. وأكل وجبة الفطور, and he ate breakfast. What was his breakfast? الخبز المحمص, toast, toasted bread. والحبوب الغذائية, and cereal, like every other child. So he had to have a big breakfast because there was a long journey to go to Buckingham Palace. زيد وأسرته غادروا المنزل. Zayd and his family left the house. غادروا means to leave, to depart. وسافروا إلى قصر بوكنغهام بالسيارة. And they journeyed, or they traveled, to Buckingham Palace by car. So all happy days, mashallah, smiling. وصلوا أخيرا إليها. They finally reached Buckingham Palace. وهم متحمسون للدخول, and, or here you could translate واو is حالية. So they finally reached Buckingham Palace whilst they were excited to enter. حتى يقتربوا من المدخل, until they came close to the entrance of Buckingham Palace. وينظر زيد إلى الوراء, and Zayd looked back. What did Zayd see when he looked back? رأى زيد سيارة مثلجات. Zayd saw an ice cream van. وركض إليها, and he ran towards the ice cream van. يصرخ بأعلى صوته, screaming with the top of his voice, توقفي توقفي, stop, stop. سمع صاحب السيارة صوت ولد. The ice cream man heard a child's voice. وأوقف السيارة, and he stopped the van فجأة, immediately, because he did not want to hear a child crying, and also there's money coming his way and he needs to make some business. So whichever way you look at it, he immediately stopped the car. واطلع من نافذة السيارة, and he peeped out from the window of the car. And what does he see? ورأى زيدا, and he sees Zayd محزون القلب, sad, saddened, disheartened. وقد سقط على الأرض, whilst he was on the floor. He fell on the floor. فقام زيد, then Zayd got up, ومشى إليها, and he went towards the ice cream van. And we can see he's crying. Keep your focus. Zayd is in red. The moods are in red. All this, inshallah, will come together. فأعطاه مثلجة مجانا. The ice cream man, very generous, is not worried about his business. He was actually thinking about the child. So what did he do? فأعطاه مثلجة مجانا. He gave Zayd an ice cream for free. Absolutely at no cost. وذهب زيد راجعا إلى قصر بوكنغهام مسرورا. And Zayd went heading towards Buckingham Palace, returning to Buckingham Palace. Happy. Masruran. All happy days, mashallah. Now he's got an ice cream. Can't get any better. وفي يده مثلجة. Whilst in his hand he had an ice cream. And we can see it looks like a mint cornetto. وفي الطريق لاقى حارسا. And on the way he saw a beefeater. Those people who guard Buckingham Palace. فعرض عليه بعض المثلجة. Kindness was shown to Zayd, so Zayd thought, I will extend my kindness to the beefeater. So he offered him some of the ice cream. لكنه لم يرد عليه. However, the beefeater did not respond to Zayd. ولم يظهر أي عاطفة. And he did not express any emotion. حتى لا ينظر إليه. To the extent that he did not even look at him. So not even looking at him, not even expressing any emotion. Now what did this do to Zayd? وَذَلِكَ حَزَنَ زَيْدًا. And now this situation saddened Zayd. Remember, حَزِنَ يَحْزَنُ means to be sad. حَزَنَ يَحْزُنُ means to sadden. So وَذَلِكَ حَزَنَ زَيْدًا. And that made Zayd sad. Remember, the beefeater is also in red as well. Probably could be because they get troubled a lot and harassed a lot, so their blood boils. Whatever the case, just remember that Zayd is in red, the beefeater is in red, and we got some moods at the top as well. Now carrying on. فابتعد عنه حزينا واضع رأسه. Zayd moved away from the beefeater, feeling sad. حزينا واضع رأسه, lowering his head. وواصل المشي. He continued to walk. حتى صدم عمود مصباح. Until he bumped into a street lamp. Things couldn't get any bad or any worse. فأصبح زيد حزينا حقا. Zayd had become extremely sad now. Things couldn't get any worse. وكان يتوقع اعتذارا. Now Zayd is awaiting an apology. But hold up. He's not interacting with any human being. He bumped his head into a lamppost, a street lamp. So he was waiting an apology. لكن عمود المصباح جامد. However, The street lamp is inanimate. It's not human. لا يقدر على قول أي شيء. It does not have the ability to say anything. ليس له مشاعر ومعاطف. It does not have any expressions or feelings. So remember, the street lamp is in red. So we've had Zayd in red, we've had the beefeater in red, and we've had the street lamp in red. وأراد زيد أن يعود إلى بيته مع أهله. Enough's enough. Zayd has had enough. From a moment of happiness and joy to now feeling saddened and frustrated. Zayd wanted to return to his house with his family. فعمد عمدا حامزا لعدم العودة إلى قصر Buckingham. He made a firm, resolute intention not to return to Buckingham Palace. Not because he was not invited to the party at 10 Downing Street. It's because of what he experienced before he can even enter Buckingham Palace. So what's happened, mashallah? واعتقد أنه سيكون من الأفضل أن يعود إلى المنزل ويدرس الإعراب. And he believed that it would be best if he returns home and he studies إعراب. What a wonderful idea. Shun Buckingham Palace and let's spend our Saturday 6 o'clock till 7. And why don't we learn إعراب, declension? So this was the story of Zayd. Now remember the characters, the emotions that we've gone through, the feelings, the ups and downs, highs and lows with Zayd, and the different people or different entities that came to play in this story. Now, the entertaining part is over. Now, inshallah, we will come to understanding إعراب further. The mechanism of إعراب, how it works, etc. So what's the conclusion of this whole story? So let's break it down. First of all, we had our character Zayd. Zayd, he experienced certain moods and he also expressed them as well. Remember, by jumping up and down and even sliding. So Zayd was an entity that experienced different state, conditions, and moods, and he also expressed them. In the Arabic language, words that experience states and different moods and also express that experience and that state are known as معرب. So Zayd is معرب. He experienced different moods, states, and he also expressed them. Next, we had the beefeater, who was quite moody, but he didn't express. So the beefeater, he experienced, but there was no expression. These words in Arabic, so we have words in Arabic that may experience a mood but they don't express that mood, like the beefeater. These words are known as اسم غير متمكن. Literally means a noun which does not give room or maneuver for a governing word to govern it in such a way that it expresses that mood. So, in other words, stubborn, a bit like the beefeater. And those will be words which, inshallah, will come across, but words like هذا will remain هذا. So, let's look at, for example, معرب. If I say جاء زيد, Zayd came. رأيت زيدا, مررت بزيد. Zayd came, I saw Zayd, I passed by Zayd. Zayd has experienced different moods, raf, nasb, jar, and has also expressed them with dhamma, fatha, and kasra. Whereas nouns which experience a state and don't express them, there could be words like asmaul ishara. هذا. So جاء هذا, this one came. رأيت هذا, I saw this one. مررت بهذا, I passed by this one. هذا has still experienced the state of raf in جاء هذا because it's fa'il. It's experienced the state of nasb in رأيت هذا because it's مفعول به. It's experienced the state of jar in مررت بهذا because it appears after harf jar b. So in Arabic, there are words that experience a state, but they don't express it. هذا has remained as هذا in all those states. And finally, in terms of our characters, remember the street lamp? No experience. It's an object. It don't experience different moods. There's no expression as well. If a street lamp is happy, it can't experience happiness for it to be happy. So it can't even experience and it can't even express. So there's no experience and no expression. So in Arabic, there are words that don't experience any moods and they also don't express. What do we call these words in Arabic? Mabni. For instance, all particles are mabni. All huruf are mabni. For example, the word inna. Inna cannot be governed by any word before it, and it can't even experience. If it can't be governed, it can't express. So, to conclude from this story, we have three types of words in Arabic. Mu'rab, a word that experiences a state and it also expresses that state. Number two, words that experience states but they don't express, like hada. Then we have words which don't experience anything and hence they don't express anything. Those words are known as mabni. The plural would be mu'arabat, asma'un ghayru mutamakkinatin, and mabniyat, inshallah, which we will cover later on in the coming lessons. Furthermore, so we had the characters, we also saw some expressions. So experienced moods. There were some moods that we saw. Happiness, sadness, very happy, joyous, jumping up and down when he saw that he's got free tickets to Buckingham Palace. So we saw different moods. These moods in Arabic are known as al-i'rab. The mood, the feeling is known as al-i'rab. More specifically, رفع, نصب, جر, and جزم. These four are the grammatical moods. The first three, رفع, نصب, جر, we will learn. They are in relation to nouns. And then رفع, نصب, جزم is in relation to verbs. But when we say verbs, it's only فعل مضارع, which we will learn later on. But up until here, the moods are known as رفع, نصب, جر, and جزم, which we call grammatical moods. What else happened in the story? Okay, there were signs. There were signs. So we had entities, either they experience a mood and they expressed it, or they didn't express it. Then we had the actual moods that were experienced. And then we had the sign of that mood. So signs of experienced moods. This is known as in Arabic علامات الإعراب, sign of the إعراب. And then we saw there were short expressions, probably just a bit of a smile, a laugh, a giggle, shocked, opening the mouth. Okay, so we had short expressions. So when Zayd experienced a certain mood, he made short expressions. These short expressions, they are known as ضمة, فتحة, كسرة, and سكون. So you could see with his mouth open, سكون. These were signs of the experienced mood. So short expressions. Then we saw Zayd happy, and he was sliding towards the ice cream one. Yes, if you remember. So we had long expressions in the story as well. In Arabic, when words experience a certain mood, grammatical mood, the expression could be short expressions, which we call short vowels. That would be ضمة, فتحة, and كسرة. And they also can experience long expressions, or we can say long vowels. And this is alif, waw, and ya. Before we went to the other slide, this is the whole nutshell of the framework of what happens with words. Just as the way Zayd was the one experiencing certain moods. So Zayd was the one who was impacted. So Zayd is معرب. The actual mood, happiness, sadness. Okay, we can mirror that with إعراب, either raf, nasb, jar, and jazm. But sadness, you can't see sadness. You can't see happiness. It's a feeling in the heart. However, you can see signs of the happiness. This is where the harakat come in, or the long vowels and the short vowels, that are indicators of what mood that word or that entity is feeling. So this is where علامات الإعراب come in. So there is a difference between ضمة and raf. There's a difference between fatha and nasb. There's a difference between kasratun and jar. And there's a difference between sukun and jazm. What's the difference? Raf'un, nasbun, jarrun, jazmun. These are all states. ضمة, فتحة, كسرة, سكون, alif, waw, and ya. These are all signs of those states. There's a clear difference between the two. before we move on, inshallah, okay, are there any questions in regards to the framework which we are going to work on in the coming lessons in regards to the conclusion and the framework of إعراب? You can use the chat, inshallah. Are there any questions in terms of معرب, اسم غير متمكن, مبني, grammatical moods, or رفع, نصب, جر, جزم, or ضمة, فتحة, كسرة, سكون, which are علامات الإعراب, and long expressions alif, waw, ya. If there are no questions, inshallah, you can put that. You understood? Okay, it's clear. Anybody else got any questions, inshallah? No, it's clear. Okay. Okay. Understood. Alhamdulillah. So let's move on. Here we have to understand one thing. That remember, harakat are the short expressions, or which we call short vowels. When we are dealing with words in Arabic which are mabni, i.e., they don't experience a state, nor do they express, then when we actually say the i'rab of the ending of that word, the alamatul i'rab more specifically, that would differ to the harakat of mu'rab words. So just think for one moment. We have words which are mu'rab, we have words which are mabni. But the harakat or harakat that come on mabni words when you're explaining the i'rab is different to the harakat when we are using explaining the i'rab of mu'rab words. So let's explain. For mabni words, we will use the following way: ضم, فتح, and kasrun. Remember, we're not saying ضمة, we're not saying فتحة, and we're not saying kasratun. We're saying ضم, فتح, and kasrun. However, when it comes to words which actually change and they are impacted and they express, then for those words, when we're explaining the alamatul i'rab, we say ضمة, we add the ta, and we say fathatun, and we say kasratun. So let's clear all this up with an example. So we have an example here. Inna Allah ghafurun. Indeed, Allah is all forgiving. So we have the word inna here. Anybody want to help out in terms of, is this word mu'rab or is it mabni? Inna. It's mabni, mashallah. Anybody else suggest otherwise? Or you agree? You can say agree, inshallah, in the chat. Agree? Okay, so it's mabni. So when we actually define this word in terms of i'rab, we will say mabniyun ala al-fathi. We'll say inna is stagnant or static with a fatha. It don't change, but with a fath. Not fatha, hatun, fath. So inna is mabniyun ala al-fathi. It'll be incorrect to say mabniyun ala al-fathati, because al-fathatu with the ta ta'nith, ta'un marbutatun, that is used for defining the i'rab of mu'rab words, not mabni words. So inna is mabni, but with ala al-fathi, not ala al-fathati. Because when we define harakats of mabni words, we use dhammun, fathun, kasrun. So on the other side, okay, we have the word Allah. So the word Allah, Ismul Jalala. We won't say Allah is mansub because when in doing i'rab of the word Allah, those people who do the i'rab, they don't say Allah is this, Allah is mansub, Allah is maf'ul bihi, Allah is majroor. Out of respect, they use two words. Either they use the word lafz and they say lafzul jalala is mansub, or they use the word ism and they say ismul jalala is mansub. They won't directly say Allah is mansub, out of courtesy and civility and respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some people actually prefer ismul jalala over lafzul jalala because the word lafz, lafaza yalfizu, literally means to throw. So you don't throw Allah's word. So, they don't, some people don't like to use the word lafzul jalala is mansub. They'll say ismul jalala, name of Allah is mansub. So it's based on preference, as long as someone's not intending anything wrong, it's fine to use lafzul jalala as well. And you can use ismul jalala. That's a side point. So here, ismul jalala will go with is mansub because of inna. So inna has governed the ismul jalala. It's mansub bil fathati because ismul jalala Allah is mu'rab. It's not a mabni word. It don't fall under those words which are mabni, which we'll cover in great detail. Which words are actually mabni, which words are asma'un ghayr mutamakkina, which words are mu'rab. We will cover that in great detail, inshallah, in the coming lessons. But we know Allah is not one of those words. It's mu'rab. So it's mu'rab. When defining the i'rab, we're saying it's mansub because it's experienced the state of nasb because of inna governing it and impacting it, just as the way the ice cream van impacted Zayd. So the ice cream van was the amil, was the governing word. The governed word was Zayd. Here the governed word is ismul jalala. But we're saying mansubun bil fathati. We're not saying mansubun bil fathi. Is that clear in terms of the difference between the harakat of mabni words and the harakat of mu'rab words? Is that clear? Is that understood? Okay, is that yes? Clear? Alhamdulillah, yes. Okay. Just don't say yes for the sake of it, because my intention is to benefit you and help you learn and grow in understanding of i'rab. Not for me to deliver a lecture, etc. I want the students to feel that they are actually learning. So just give me another yes, please. And if it's a no, be honest, it's a no. Okay. So yes, alhamdulillah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now let's move on to another aspect which can sometimes, confuse people. الفرق بين الرفع والنصب والجر وبين المرفوع والمنصوب والمجرور. What is the difference between الرفع, النصب, الجر, and مرفوع, منصوب, and مجرور? What is the difference? Let's learn through an example. كان الله غفورا. Allah is oft forgiving. Remember one thing, this is just a side thing. The word kana normally denotes past tense, meaning was. Kana Zaydun qa'iman. Zayd was standing. But when you use the word kana with ismul jalala, it don't give the meaning of was. It means was and will always be. So when you say Allahu ghafurun, Allah is oft forgiving, That means Allah is forgiving. When you say كان الله غفورا, you're actually suggesting two things. Allah has always been oft forgiving and He'll always will be. So the word kana, when it comes with Allah's Ismul Jalala, it means Allah has always been and will always be. So the kana does not just give the meaning, it don't give the meaning of was with Allah's name. It means was always and will always be. So remember that. So we won't say here Allah was oft forgiven. Allah has always been and will always be all forgiving. Anyway, that's something just on the side. كان الله غفورا. So we want to know the difference between the term raf, marfu, nasb, mansub, jar, majroor. So let's get going. Here, Ismul Jalala. Like we said, we want to just prefer to use Ismul Jalala. You can say Lafzul Jalala. It's marfu. Because kana, it has a ism and it has a khabar. The Ismul Jalala of kana is, sorry, the ism of kana is the Ismul Jalala. So it's marfu. Ismul Jalala is marfu. Ghafuran is the khabar of kana, hence it's mansoob. So where does raf and nasb come into it? The state and the i'rab is raf. So the fact that Ismul Jalala has come as the ism of kana is experiencing the state of raf. So the i'rab would be raf, the state, the experience. Like we said, the experience you can't see. The sign of the experience you can see. So when Zayd was happy, he was sad. Sadness and happiness is happening behind the scene. It's in the heart, it's felt. So the raf, nasb, and jar is the state that word experiences. It's all happening within that word. It's feeling, it's experiencing that state. So the fact that Ismul Jalala has come after kana is experiencing the state of raf. So raf is the state. Marfu would be the word that experiences that state. That's the difference now. I'll say that again. Raf is the experience, the mood, the state. And marfu is the word that experiences that state. So when we look at ghafuran, the i'rab is nasb because kana has a ism and he has a khabar. And we know that kana, the khabar, is mansoob because kana makes the khabar, its khabar, experience the state of nasb. So that state is a nasb. Remember you say a nasb with a sukoon, not nasabun. Nasabun means fatigue, tiredness, nasb. So the i'rab is nasb, but ghafuran is mansoob. So the state ghafur is experiencing is a nasb. That's the i'rab. Further on, to clarify, what's the dhamma? The dhamma here is alamatul i'rab. On Ismul Jalala, kana Allahu. The dhamma is alamatul i'rab, the sign of that state of raf. That's the expression. Remember Zayd, happy, sad, smiley face, sliding, jumping up and down. That was the expression. So the dhamma is the sign of the i'rab, not the i'rab. So there's a difference between i'rab and alamatul i'rab. So dhamma, dhammatun, fathatun, kasratun, alif, waw, ya, these are not i'rab. These are a sign of the i'rab. If you look on the other side, ghafuran, ghafuran. So the khabar of kana is mansoob. It's experienced the state of nasb. But how has this been expressed? It's been expressed with a fatha. Ghafuran. علامة الإعراب, the sign of غفور experiencing the state of nasb is the fatha. And remember, with the ta مربوطة at the end, we won't say ضم, الضم or الفتح, because those are harakats that are used in relation to words which are mabni. Inshallah, this is just some little terminologies where people can get confused in terms of, fath, fathatun, raf, mansub, marfu, just to clarify before we actually get into how i'rab works. So what we've done, just to summarize, we've learnt about the story of Zayd, which obviously was made up. So please don't ask me for reference for that story. But through that story, alhamdulillah, we come to know that in Arabic, words are of three types when it comes to i'rab. Either it's impacted and he expresses. That word would be known as mu'rab. Number two, he experiences but he don't express. Those words are known as ismun ghayru mutamakkin. And the third is they don't experience and they don't express. Those are words which are mabni. Then we moved on to the grammatical moods. The grammatical moods are raf, nasb, jar, and jazm. Noun experiences raf, nasb, and jar. And the verb, when you say verb, it's only fa'il mudari, which we'll come to learn, experiences raf, nasb, and jazm. Then the sign of those conditions and states, you have short and you have long. Short ones are dhammatun, fathatun, kasratun, and sukun. And the long ones are alif, waw, and ya. Then we moved on to the difference between dham, fath, and kasr. When we talk about the harakats of mabni words, we want to define the i'rab. We will say mabniyun ala al-fathi, mabniyun ala al-dhammi, mabniyun ala al-kasri. We won't say mabniyun ala al-fathati, mabniyun ala al-kasrati, or mabniyun ala al-dhammati, because al-dhammatu, al-fathatu, and al-kasratu are used for signs of i'rab to define mu'rab words. Then we came finally the difference between ar-raf and marfu, an-nasb and al-mansub, and al-jar and al-majrur. Raf is the state, marfu is the word that experiences that state. Nasb is the state, mansub is the word that experiences the state of nasb. Jar is the state, majrur is the word that experiences the state of jar. Alhamdulillah, this is the first lesson, and you will enjoy, inshallah. I hope you do as well. There is more exciting things, inshallah, to cover, and there'll be more interaction as well. And then obviously, the icing on the cake is when we apply the i'rab on the surah's last chapters of the Qur'an as well, and you will be involved in that throughout, because it's going to be led through you. Because once you go through the whole i'rab, it's down to you now to show your level of understanding, how much you've understood, rather than me dictating everything and saying it's this, and it's that. You will be giving me the answers, inshallah, and then that will prove that this course has been effective. Any questions, inshallah, before we log off after the first lesson? In the sentence ra'aytu sayyaratin, is the word sayyarat nasb because maf'ul bihi, and majrur as feminine plurals can't take fatha. Ra'aytu sayyaratin, I saw cars. Okay, so sayyaratin is mansub because it's maf'ul bihi, but because it's a jam'un mu'annathun salimun word, those words in the state of nasb, it has the sign of the i'rab is a kasra. Just because it got a kasra, that does not mean it's majrur. Sound feminine plural words, the formula of the i'rab for that specific type of ism mu'arab would be in the state of raf, it'll have a dhamma, nasb, it'll have a fatha, and jar, it'll have a kasra. So for example, you say ja'at muslimatun, Muslim women came. Ra'aytu muslimatin, because the formula of Jam'un Muannathun Salimun word will be in the state of Nasb, it'll have a Kasra. Just because it got a Kasra, that does not mean Majroor. Majroor means now you're saying it's experienced in the state of Jar, when it's not. It's experienced in the state of Nasb. And then obviously if you do bring in the state of Jar, it'll have the same harakat as well. Marartu bisayyaratin. I pass by cars. Okay? So does that make sense? Example is in the Quran. أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ. We have prepared for them gardens. أعد أعد فعل ماضي. لفظ الجلال is the file. أعد الله لهم جار مجرور متعلق to أعد, and جنات, that's the مفعول به. We prepared for them gardens. Even though it's مفعول به, not every مفعول به will have a fatha, which we'll learn inshallah in the course. That every different type of ism mu'rab will have a different formula. People get this misunderstood and they think that raf is dhamma, nasb is, a word which is marfu will have a dhamma, a word which is mansub will have a fatha, and a word which is majroor will have a kasra. That's just one formula out of 9 formulas, inshallah, which you'll cover. You have to look at what type of ism mu'rab it is and then apply the correct formula, the i'rab. Is understood? Okay, at this stage you won't know the full thing, but inshallah, once you cover the whole course, you will get to become familiar with it, inshallah. Anyone else, any questions before inshallah we log off? When you say marartu bi Zaydin, is Zayd mansub because it's maf'ul or majroor because it has harf jar before it? Okay, those who inshallah, you can carry on listening if you want. If you need to log off, don't worry about it. When you say marartu bi Zaydin, I pass by Zayd, Zayd will be majroor because there's a harf jar before it. Okay, marartu bi Zaydin, I pass by Zayd. So Zayd will be majroor because there's a harf jar before it. Okay, is that clear? There are some more technicalities to this, but I don't want to overcomplicate it because let's just keep it simple. Some people say it's maf'ul biwasitati harfil jar, and marartu is the meaning of jawaztu. So in other words, it means jawaztu Zaydan. But we don't need to go into all that technicality. These things are mentioned in some grammar books, but let's just keep to the basic, inshallah. Marartu bi Zaydin. Zayd is majroor because of the harf jar. Okay, inshallah, see you next week, inshallah, same time. For now, Assalaamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.